We've all finally visited Halloween Horror Nights 31.
We've experienced all the houses multiple times.
So it's time to review and rank them.
This is episode 529 of the Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast. Hey everyone! Finally, Tracy and I have been back for feels like forever at this point. Put it this way, we're at a point where last night Tracy said, I don't care about Halloween anymore, it's over, we're done, we've been, I want to move on to Christmas.
Christmas!
And I'm like, no, we still need to talk Halloween Horror Nights. It's been killing me. Chris has been multiple times. So anyway, I have Tracy with me.
Hello!
And Chris.
Hey.
Chris has been like a million times at this point.
Yeah.
And Michelle, who is currently in the airport coming back from her first trip.
Yes, I'm here, barely alive, because we did an RIP last night and I am dead.
It's the way to do it. You beat, actually, because it made me question how many houses we got through on ours, and we only did 18, and you guys did 21?
21.
But we did see Ghoulish, sorry.
Did you skip
we skipped the shows. We did 21 run-throughs. But we also had two fairly lengthy breaks. Like we took a whole hour break in the middle. We did the break at Fallon. We ate at La Bamba for almost an hour.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Still the way to go, without a doubt.
Oh
yeah.
For sure.
Definitely. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, Maddie and Kenneth's first one, how did they enjoy it?
They were flabbergasted. Now, Kenneth was even more exhausted than I am. Because when I arrived Saturday, he had worked all day, and then we went to Hallow Scream that night until we didn't get back to his place until 1. And then he ended up staying up till 5, had to be at work again at 7:30.
Oh my God.
And then he left straight from work and met us for the RIP. So he was literally dead.
So he was in a wheelchair.
I was just going to say the same thing, yeah.
Yeah. But Maddie stayed the whole night. She and I closed it out with the mummy. And yeah, it was fabulous. Maddie was like, I had no clue that people can live like this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just,
Ruined it for more people.
And let me give a quick thank you. Shout out to Sonia Miranda from the Producers Club for being so incredibly generous, inviting me, Maddie, and Kenneth from Rush of Fear to join her for her RIP. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to do it. And that was just a fabulous night. We loved spending time with her and her family and her friends. They were completely generous. And thank you from the bottom of our hearts for that opportunity.
Anybody who came to the weekend the last time knows how utterly selfless and generous Sonia is for that coffin of donuts for one. But yes.
She's so cool and so sweet and lovely. So thank you.
Right. Let's get to the main event because this is killing me. So we are going to go from
potatoes.
We are going to go from 10 to 1.
That's not what I voted for.
So coming in with his number 10 first, Christopher, surprise me.
Did you say my number 11?
No.
Because that's where I have it at. Coven.
Okay. Why so low, Chris?
Man, I was hyped for this house. The storyline to me is awesome. It was like actually using prohibition, and they tried to do that in this house. Like there were aspects of it where you can see them, smuggling bottles, which were cool, right? So like there's this one scene where they're slitting open a pig and they're pulling a bottle out of it. Thought that was cool. You had your mine cart down there traveling around. Again, all unique aspects of prohibition. But for some reason, that house just fell flat on its face. And I've had discussions with Alexa about this because this was the least house we did the entire time we've been there. So every other house we did tons of times. This we did 3 times.
Wow.
Once the first time, right? That just trying it out. Second, like a week later, just to see maybe they're getting better. After that, we just skipped it the next trip and only went in there one more time because my family had came and they wanted to go through it. I'm like, okay, I'll go through it. It just, it didn't change. It was just not good. Also, the other thing for me in this house that really kind of killed it was noise or lack thereof. It's a very quiet house. Like you have the piano playing, which is cool for about a minute, and then that's all you really hear, and then it just gets really just quiet going through the place.
There's no atmosphere.
No,
there is no atmosphere, and it sucks because it's a really pretty house, and you're gonna probably hear this a lot this entire episode, right? But I don't know, it just kind of falls flat. Doesn't really. Everything seems generic in there. The scares are just these random one-off little slasher guy or girl. It just fortunately did not hit the mark for me.
Yeah, that entrance facade, stunning. I mean, we'll talk about it in a minute. So I'm going to, because I feel like there's a few of us going to talk about this at this point. Tracy, what have you got at number 10?
Well, Lee.
Shock us, please.
Yeah. Very surprised by this being my number 10. I expect it to be my number 1.
Well, Chris had this at number 4 on his hype list.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try and you. Coven. It promised so much and only delivered maybe 25% of what it promised. You know, first third of it, stunning, beautiful. After that, once you get out of the speakeasy, you don't get any more narrative. There's no more storytelling, really. It's just boring. Mm-hmm. And then you have sections where there's nothing going on. And then you're at the end. It's like, what happened? And I'm really disappointed because I really, really was looking forward to this so much because it ticks all of my boxes.
Well, you had this at number 3 on your hype list. Let me jump in before we go to Michelle because I also have this as my number 10. The first time we went through it, I was like, the first half, we came out going, that first half was amazing. And then you get the back half, it's just like, And
well, we did actually wonder if we'd hit a cast change because we saw nobody.
We had a night where our first 3 or 4 house run-throughs were completely understaffed. So we put it down to that. And then we did it again. And I was like, and not the same night, a different night.
Yep.
And then I was talking to Rich on our RIP tour and he's like, no, that's it, fully staffed.
Yeah, I didn't want to mention that, but yeah, even he was like a little disappointed.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that entrance facade's awesome. I don't know whether I mentioned it before when we went through. Raymond was pointing the cat out and the team member told him the cat's called Potion, apparently.
Yeah.
There was no decent effects in there.
The actual speakeasy itself
was awesome.
I did love the door where it slid open and the eyes were behind it.
Mm-hmm. But there was nothing particularly stand out in it. Michelle, what have you got as your number 10?
I'm so sad about this. So, same.
Really?
Spirits of the Coven.
And this was your number 1.
Number 1.
Yes.
Yep.
That was your number 1 before?
Yep.
That hurts.
And I was going, it's the middle of October almost, and I, believe it or not, have not given myself any spoilers. Like anytime I see anything on the socials, I just scroll super fast, even on my own page, because Maddie is my social media manager. So she'll post stuff on my own page for me for my business. So I even scroll past my own because I wanted to be completely like blank slate. But I have heard rumors that this house was kind of disappointing, but I was going to be all Lee with Fast and Furious about it and be like, nope, I'm going to stand by it and have an open mind. Mm-hmm. I was so sad when I came out of it. Again, like you guys said, the beginning was promising. The concept and the storyline, fabulous. I don't understand why it fell short. I can't figure it out. It just wasn't scary, like, at all. There were 0, like, special effects.
Nothing. Yeah, there was nothing.
Like, there was no kind of special scare that might have moved it up on my list at all. The concept of the witches getting uglier and uglier throughout was lost on me too. I was like, they were ugly at the beginning too. So not sure. When we got down into the root cellar, I didn't quite understand that either. I wasn't aware we were down there. No. The things that were hanging from the ceiling were hitting me, and I was like, what is this supposed to be? Pig intestines or something? Because we just passed the pig, you know?
Yeah, it was like,
and Sonia was like, no, I think it's roots because we're in the root cellar. I was like, oh.
Okay. Because Tracy pointed out like the coloured lights on the wall, there was no reason like what they were all about.
Yeah. No.
I think they had leftover from Hell Block. They're like, let's just use it here.
Yeah. So I'm kind of sad because, again, it was a great storyline. Yeah. It could have been awesome. And it could have been super gory, right? Like they kill men who come in there and use their blood as drinks. Yeah. I didn't see anybody trying to serve me a drink of blood.
No.
I didn't see anything gory.
No, not at all.
The only thing that stands out in my mind is the pig slaughter.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the concept. The concept, there were supposed to be men being slaughtered. Mm-hmm. And I didn't see much of that at all.
No, that's a really good point.
There was, so I don't know, it was our first or second run through. And the piano player, that time, and it was the only time I saw this particular actor, and he was phenomenal. He was lunging across the piano, and he was really making people jump. And then after that, every other piano player was just lackluster. It was just like a little, almost like a, I don't even know how to describe it, just going,
I think it's also a weird scare that they're trying to do there.
Yeah.
Like, it's like an off note is going to scare me. Is that what we're saying here?
Yeah, right. And also, it's quite, for me, that isn't a time for a scare. That's lulling you in. You should be all happy and you're in the speakeasy enjoying yourself. Drink more, have more drinks.
False sense of security.
Exactly. And then you build it. It lost something in the storytelling, unfortunately.
It just had far too much dead time in it for my liking. And like I say, that first couple of times we ran through it, I felt like it was because it was a cast change or something like that. But when you find out that, no, it isn't, that's just how it is, it just felt super weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, just like Michelle had mentioned, like the witch scares were also a little bit awkward for me because they weren't really scaring. They just kind of would unveil their face and look at me. And I'm like, all right.
Right.
It was really awkward. I don't know how to describe it other than the word awkward on
and they didn't even like get in your space, really.
No, they just stay there dancing and smiling at you like they're seducing you.
Yeah. And it was like all of a sudden there's a light on them and you just see them there, but they weren't like trying to scare you or get in your space or My first word when I walked out was, I'm sad.
I mean, it just shows you how bad it obviously is that all four of us have this as our number 10. And it's like Tracy, Chris and I have obviously had time to ruminate on it and we've discussed it among ourselves as well. Whereas Michelle, you're coming fresh off it without that knowledge. Mm-hmm. And even and especially how hyped you were for it, that even you're pulling it in as your number 10, I think speaks volumes for it.
Well, I was even going as far as trying to find the good in it because I wanted it to be my Fast and the Furious. Like I really did. And I couldn't find it. It's like I couldn't. Mm-hmm. And I tried my best to convince the others to go in it one more time for research purposes. And it was so bad that nobody wanted to go in it again last night. I was like,
However, saying that, if somebody said to me, hey, I'll take you back over there, but you can only go in one house, and it was that, I'd still go.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, of course.
Know.
Just to be at the
You got to give me a haunted horseshoe after, but
I'd take that for definite.
But given the choice of that one or others that are in that general vicinity.
Yeah, and I've spoken to many people, and this is the general consensus. Like, I'm very curious to see what the rankings come in from everybody who submits their houses, but I haven't heard one good thing about this house.
Yeah, we've got a lot.
Interestingly enough, it won House of the Week last week.
I saw
I'm
that.
not sure how they rank, like how that happens. But
yes, I saw that.
It's a participation trophy.
Anyway. Moving on,
guys.
With our number 9. Tracy, your number 9.
What do you think my number 9 is?
I have a good idea. It's the one next door to this one.
I have no idea because I have no sense of direction anywhere. No, I think I walked out of this and said I hated it. In fact, that's how bad Coven was. This should have been my number 10. It's Blumhouse.
Really? Okay.
I hated it. Right.
Have you watched the movies?
Yep.
Yes.
Right. I liked Freaky. Black Phone section left me cold. But I said when it was announced, Black Phone, can't see how this is going to work. There's not enough.
No, the film was awesome, but there's not a lot to work with.
The phone was pretty cool too.
It was actually pretty.
Yeah.
It was.
I would. Do you know what? If it had been just a pure freaky house, they'd done more with that. I think they could have done as well.
It had one of. We will talk about it at some point as well more, but it did have one of the best effects in any house this year. I will say that.
It's probably unpopular opinion. For me, it didn't work. I think having that yard in the middle.
That was weird.
That was weird because you know how long a house approximately lasts, and all of a sudden you turn a corner and you just wait. I think it was with Gillian.
No, I was with Gillian that first time we went through it because we were both like, "Is that the?" Oh, hang on,
no, it was Alexa.
Weird.
It was Alexa was behind me, and I turned around and went, "Is that it?" She went, "Yeah, that's crazy." And then we realised we were going into
it was effectively like having two houses. To be fair,
it was.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they're needing to use the space.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yes.
Yeah.
Go on then. Who have I got next? Michelle, number 9.
Yes. So my number 9 is Hell Block Horror.
That's what I thought you would have at number 9. Okay.
Spoiler, it's higher.
Just to be fair, I only went through that one once last night as well. That was another one I couldn't convince everybody to go through again.
Really?
But from what I remember my first run through, I wasn't impressed by any means. I didn't get any jump scares at all. And
that's just because you're hardened to it now.
Well, no, I got some good scares in the other houses, but yes, I am much more hardened to it than I used to be. Sad for you, I know.
Was it full of actors though? Because that house is very dependent on having the actors.
Yes, it is
there.
very much.
Yeah, I think so. From what everybody else said, it was fine. Okay. I did like the concept that the monsters that were in the cells were monsters from previous houses and previous years. That's kind of cool. But it just kind of fell short for me. There was no special. I'm really into special effects. I'm into things where they get really creative these days, and that one just didn't. I didn't find any that I was impressed by. Just felt like I was walking through a jail.
Yeah. So spoilers, this is higher up on my list, and there's one reason which all three of you will appreciate why it's higher up on my list.
You think I don't know that reason?
Because it wasn't there on the first run through.
No, it wasn't.
And then it came in. So I've just chastised Tracy. I've actually got Blumhouse. I've just changed my 8 and 9 round.
You told me earlier I was not allowed to change anything when I was scribbling something out.
Well,
I see. One rule for one.
I agree that it was very strange. Me and Gillian, the first time we did it was our RIP tour, and me and Gillian both got to that end because you see the light and you're like, hang on, is that it? Where's the black foam bit? Did I miss it? Oh, hang on, here it is. The freaky section was really good, which was the section I was least looking forward to. The triple threat where you see them changing. So there's Michelle, I don't know whether you noticed this. So you walk up and there's the girl in the bear suit. Is it like a bear suit or whatever it is? Like the big costume thing.
The mascot. Yeah.
And it's got one of those clear screen things, but with a mirror. So the actor who's playing the butcher is obviously stood to the side with the mirror reflecting through when the lights changed on that clear, on the cloth screen. So it changes back and forth for that effect, and then he jumps out at the side, and that you didn't get to see it that often, but that was so good. Other than that, it was a generic Horror Nights house, and then the black phone section was just walking through the movie. It had nothing like we've said with Coven. No, other than that special effect, nothing else in it to elevate it above anything else. It was just kind of it was all right.
Where was it on your list before?
That's an interesting question. Yes, Tracy, you had Blumhouse at number 8. No, I had it at number 8. Tracy, you had it at number 9. Funny enough,
it didn't change. Yeah. See, I knew.
Michelle, you had Hellblock Horror at 7, so you're about there. Chris, you're number 9.
So we'll agree on some of this house here, but some of the things I'm going to say is against what a lot of people said. So at number 9, I have Blumhouse.
Okay.
We saw Black Phone going into Horror Nights, but didn't see Freaky.
Okay.
And everybody, first time going through Freaky, it was okay. I'm like, all right, not maybe one cool kill in there, which was the chainsaw thing.
Yes.
But aside from that, it was just kind of meh. Oh, actually, the locker room was very cool, where they pop open the lockers and give you a little scare there. I like that. But aside from that, it didn't really do much for me. Everybody was like, well, have you seen Freaky? No. You have to watch Freaky. Awesome movie, blah, 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 blah. 3 weeks in, we finally watched Freaky. Go do the house again. I don't get it. It was boring. And honestly, I think it's a problem that everybody said how good the movie was, that my expectations were so high.
Yeah.
Me and Alexa saw the movie, looked at each other like, well, it was okay. It wasn't as good as we thought it was. So I don't know. The Freaky just didn't do it for me. I actually enjoyed the Black Phone portion, but not for the reasons of like a Horror Nights house. It kind of felt like a studio tour that you're walking through the movie set pieces, which that's how I just had to look at it. I'm like, that's kind of cool then. Nothing really scary there. It's literally just, basement, kitchen,
basement, kitchen.
Basement, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think I had this down on the list. I think it was at number 9.
Yeah, you have got it at number 9.
Yeah. So it hit my expectations.
Yeah. I mean, you can't argue much more than that. It was what it was. I think it not necessarily telling that we didn't do this for the first time until our RIP tour, but then there's another one on our list that we also didn't do that I know Tracy and I will have a damn sight higher up than this. Right, moving on. At number 8, Michelle, what is your number 8?
My number 8, is Fiesta de Chupacabras.
Right, I'm going to say right here and now, what the hell?
I'm a little upset.
I'm starting the petition. Let's sack Michelle.
What the hell?
No.
Oh, no. Oh, gosh.
Wow.
You think you know a person?
Please.
No.
Please. Please back your...
I had no idea that was going to get that response.
It's because she hasn't eaten lunch. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Michelle, just
that's
go
it.
eat, come back.
Michelle, please defend your decision.
Yeah, quickly.
Okay. Well, who knows? Maybe my choices will change next week after I've done it again. But so last night we only did this one twice. The first time we walked through, it was like there were like no scare actors in it.
Okay.
It was crazy empty.
Wow.
Must have been
even over. Kenneth and Maddie, who have done it many times, were like that. Yeah, that was literally the crappiest run through I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, we did do one where halfway through we got a changeover, and it makes a big difference not having the actors in there.
Yeah, massively.
It was awful. So I convinced everybody to do it again later, and we did it again later, and it was much better. But it's still, I don't know, it just fell short for me. So I wanted to see, it just wasn't what I expected in my mind, right? Okay, I've been to a lot of fiestas, and I wanted to walk into like a full on like fiesta. I wanted to feel that sense of false security first. I wanted to feel like everything was fine and lighthearted, and then have the story kind of start slowly playing out.
You've only got so much time in the house, though.
No, they could have put that in the very beginning scene instead of that little.
She wanted them to like hand her a bat to hit the piñata, just like, let's do this. Yeah.
I can tell you now, there's going to be 3 people who will have a very different opinion on that opening scene here. But carry on. That's what I thought. I thought there was going to be some type of a false sense of security, and there wasn't. I liked the chupacabras; they were cool, but still weren't completely as like prominent throughout the house as I wanted them to be. There were a lot more like shadows of the chupacabras and things like that, as opposed to actual animatronics or whatever. It's because they only had 4 American Werewolf puppets left over from 25.
Right. Or even like actual chupacabras killing, which I didn't see.
Shall you realise it is just a legend, though? Getting hold of actual chupacabras could be difficult.
I mean, come on, they could have. No, but like...
just tried harder.
There weren't too many applicants for the people being the food, by the way.
There was just a whole lot of like insinuations, right? So like there was the scene where they pull the dummy.
That was cool.
You hear the chupacabra, and then the dummy gets pulled in. So it's a lot of things like that. It wasn't as gory as I thought it was going to be.
No.
I don't know. It just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So that maybe I just had a different expectation in my head, which is why it fell short for me.
Well, you had this at number 5 on your hype list. I will hold off because I know Tracy and Chris and myself will have this much higher up our lists. So my number 8 is bugs eaten alive.
Oh,
it just didn't do it for me.
What's wrong with you, man?
It just didn't do it for me. Like, I appreciate the kind of kitschy 1950s bug thing. I was wanting more like sort of normal bugs rather than the big. Like, I appreciated some of the scares and stuff in it. The Sif was
it was
the best use of Sif in any house ever, quite honestly. But other than that, it just, I think I was expecting too much from it. I mean, I had this as my number 2 on my hype list as well, because I hoped, like I think Tracy said, that it would be that one house that would finally make me feel something. And it just didn't. It was, I wanted to love it every time we went through it, and I was just kind of like, it was all right. That's about as much as I can say.
Okay.
Christopher.
What are we, number 8?
Yeah.
Chupacabra, just to you off.
Yes.
No, I know damn well you haven't got it that low.
Number 8, I got Descendants.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It's, and not to say I didn't enjoy the house, but I enjoyed aspects of other houses more. I thought Descendants it had the right amount of noise in there. It did have some really cool effects. The subway train glass mirror thing, where it makes it look a lot, bigger than what it is.
Yes.
That's what she said. Was awesome. And
back off, Chaddy. Got it. All right.
And I also, one of the things that stuck out in that house is when you go down to the caves or the caverns, and they put that like moldy fungus smell. I know that sounds weird, but it's just that really distinct smell.
Yeah.
It was really good. Kind of placing, mentally placing you down there. So I thought that was cool. Aside from that, not too much else stood out. I mean, some, generic cave monsters, things like that.
Clickers, you mean?
Yeah. Well, if we had gotten Last of Us,
it wasn't far away. Right. I'm going to talk about this much later, but yeah,
it's very close.
It was very close.
I agree to an extent. Yes. But yeah, number 8, which I think I had this higher.
You had it at number 5.
Yeah.
Tracy, number 8.
Let me just check where it was. Oh, okay. I'm going to upset Lee now.
Oh my God.
I've got Hellblock at number 8.
Oh, I didn't expect you to have it much higher. I know you didn't like it. Yeah, there's a number 6 on your hype list. I know you didn't like this house.
I tried to. I appreciated certain bits, but apart from that one bit at the end, yeah, that bit. But that's only because of the memory from last time of the best house ever. It just didn't do it for me. In fact, I can't really talk about it because I don't remember a lot, even though we watched stuff last night. I'm kind of like, it's blocked from memory. It's hell blocked from my memory.
Haha. Because this was one we did without the kids. The kids had both gone back to the hotel, and me and you went through it because there was those stupid kids in the queue shouting expletives.
Oh, yes.
If you're in the producer club, you've heard me talking about it.
Yeah.
That it?
Yeah.
I've
already said.
Wow.
I can't remember anything to talk about it.
Okay, then. So how is this not lower down on your list?
Because Blumhouse and Coven are below it.
Fair enough. Right, moving on then, because you've got nothing to say. We'll move on to number 7, and I will start. My number 7 is Hellblock Horror. This was my joint number 10 for the longest time, and it slowly kind of crept up.
What?
Stop swearing. Michelle, did you notice the Yeti at all in Hellblock Horror when you were through?
I did not.
So the bit where there's like a cage and you walk around it and the cage is open at one end. Should be a Yeti in there, because the first time we did it, that Yeti was not there. And I came through the first run through going, well, that was a bit naff.
I actually thought something had escaped because the bars were bent.
But it was that same night when we did 3 or 4 others that were really, really understaffed. That same night we did Coven for the first time.
I will tell you, Lee, that Yeti was missing on multiple runs of mine.
Okay.
I don't remember seeing a Yeti. I'll have to ask the others.
Yeah.
You wouldn't miss him. He was like inside.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeti
almost
sized.
like you're walking through like just a range of fencing and he's there swiping at you.
So like the cabin bit where we were told to look out for the VHS tapes in Stranger Things during our RIP tour. It was like that. You walked around it. The cage came out.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that scene, but I don't remember there being a Yeti there.
So that second night we went through, and I started to recognize some of the characters in it.
Yeah.
And that's when it started to jump up a little bit. And then we got to that bit, and the Yeti was there, and I was like, yes! That's just elevated it way above like these other crappy ones. And just because of that, just because of that, if you go back at the end of this episode, I'm putting all the walkthroughs in. I think the walkthrough, when we get to that point, you will know when it's at that point because I go crazy. Just that point alone was enough to elevate it above like the three we've done already. I didn't mind it, and I appreciate it more and more now. I've sort of heard the story a little bit more, and and I had this at number 6, so it's about where we're at. Yeah, no, Chris, you number 7.
Number 7 is also Hell Block Horror. Yeah, I actually enjoyed this house a lot. I don't think it was Alexa's favorite, but we had some really good run-throughs in this house, jam-packed with actors, hitting every single mark. I also love a really nice juxtaposition here is between this and Coven, where Coven was a very silent house. This house was full of noise.
Yes.
Gunfire, alarms, yelling, like it had everything. And I think that kind of just gets you a little bit more into the whole feel of things. It was cool seeing monsters of the past. Some of them I recognize, some of them I could recognize but not tell you where they're from, but I know I've seen them before. But yeah, it was nice to have all those little jail cells kind of, packed with different scare actors in there. I really, really enjoyed. So like this house, like I said, because of the sound would just get me hyped up in there. So by the time we got to the middle part where the monsters, turning on the electric chair for the guy, loved that. And then towards the end of the house, I think it had a really nice finale where if you caught it right on the time where the guard is yelling, we're going to blow this up, and then just do all that. It's just, you come out there really energetic, I think. So because of those reasons, I liked it a lot. Yeah,
it's one of those that definitely is dependent on your run through. I think a lot of houses you can go through, and even if you have a sort of subpar run through, you can still appreciate it. Whereas this, you need to get a good run through to appreciate. Otherwise, it comes across as crap. And if you get that couple of decent run throughs, it kind of harkens back to Nightingales at 20. At 29 for us. Like the first time we did that, it was crap, and then the second time it was like, oh my god, that was phenomenal. I know there was points of that one that I did enjoy. I remember turning to you and saying, oh, that was good, but just not enough. Tracy, number 7. I just want to clarify, I knew immediately after we'd finished, we'd been in our last house ever, I knew immediately what my last 3 were. Yeah, Chris, sorry, you had that at your number 8, so you actually had it above where you put it on your hype list. And for me, it was like 7 Up. These were all. Yeah, I struggled with some of these where to place them. Okay. So number 7, and I've flip flopped with what I've got above it, but I settled last night. I've got Descendants. Okay. I liked it. I appreciated it. But you said you didn't get the story, did you? Not really. It was another one that it went over my head to some degree. But I did appreciate the sets. There was some really, especially the deeper you got and the more devoluted, is that a word? Devolved, yeah. Devolution. Devolution. Yeah, and then with the use of blacklight and strobe. So for me, I think I appreciated the second half of it more than the first half. I feel there was a lot of houses like that were one half was better than the other half, rather than a full decent walkthrough. Because for me, it was going more into the realms of the creativeness and imagination, and it was because this stuff doesn't exist as far as we know. So I was appreciating how it had been created. I don't want to use that word. Made. Whatever. Stop putting words in my mouth because you want me to hurry up.
I appreciated what they'd created.
Well, hey.
Oh, I'll swear really bad in a minute. While it's this low, this was like the first of the ones I enjoyed, if that makes any sense.
Have I said you had this at number 5?
No, but you have now.
Yeah. Michelle, number 7.
My number 7 is Bugs Eaten Alive.
Okay.
I believe I had this higher up on my hype list.
You had it at number 2.
Number 2. I stand by what I said on my hype list, and that I was really hoping for more like actual bugs, like not real bugs, but the feeling of real bugs. But that part went away super fast, and then it was all these giant bugs, and it was just
come to Florida a little bit more. We got you.
But no, that's exactly why I've got it low down. You want, like, I'm not scared of them, but they make me feel uncomfortable. They make my skin crawl. Proper tiny little bugs, not big, massive, huge things. That's not what, like, Tracy, you know about spiders.
I know about spiders.
It's the tiny little awkward things that scare the crap out of you. But yeah, if you go to a desensitization thing, they'll give you a big tarantula, and it's like, I love tarantulas. They're not.
Oh, I nearly brought one home last year, didn't I?
So I get that completely.
Yeah, it was. That was just kind of silly for me. There were a couple of parts that were cool. I like that dark tunnel area where they tried to make it feel like there were things touching you. It fell a little short for me, but I knew what they were trying to do. Apparently, the big fly dude is going to be like the next Lil Boo.
Really?
No, it's not.
Yeah, what were they calling him?
It's not, but go on.
The grub. I don't remember.
I've not heard that, like.
Yeah.
Not going to fly with me.
Boom.
So he's like a big deal now. Super.
Chris don't.
He was kind of cute. But no, it just wasn't. It was just meh.
Because you wanted it to be something more than it was, I think we all did. We all wanted it to make us feel creepy, and it just didn't. And it didn't.
And there were actually more people that were being like infested with the bugs.
Yeah.
As that were they were supposed to be trying to scare you than actual bugs were scaring you. And I was like, your weird face is not scaring me.
Not to you, but a lot of people. So we were talking again to Rich, our tour guide. That is it. What's trypophobia?
Trypophobia. Yeah.
Apparently they put apparently the sick bags kicking around in there, because that's the thing that was getting most people in that house, was that, not the actual bugs themselves.
That's what my friend
I
Juan
could
has.
see that if you have that phobia. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't bother me. I'm just like, oh, okay, you need to get some acne cream on.
Yeah, I was like, ooh. Can I get some tweezers for that?
Where's Dr. Pimple Popper?
Yeah. It wasn't until the second run through that I realised what that was.
Yeah. It just
it wasn't bothering me.
I love the idea behind it. It just, I think because we were hoping for something else and it wasn't what we wanted, it kind of fell flat.
It was trying too hard.
Yeah.
It tried way too hard. They could have kept it super simple and just played on people's fear of actual bugs, and it'd been better, I think.
Yeah. Right. Moving on then. We're nearly at halfway point. So number 6, Chris, you're number 6.
Number 6 is Monsters.
What?
Yeah.
What?
You guys better get just as mad as him as you did at me.
Oh, trust me, when you find out where it is on mine, I will be hating on Chris. 6.
To be fair, like the next couple houses are kind of very equal for me. So this is difficult. But yeah, 6. And that, honestly, it jumped up from like being 8 after I had to go multiple times, multiple weekends until we finally got. Oh yeah. Look, you walk into that house and it's like walking into the Mummy Queue. It's gorgeous. It's perfection. But when you go through it, at least in the beginning, when I was going through it, it's basically a mummy house.
Yes.
Right. And it was just kind of weak scares I was getting from the mummy. And then he's having to like hide his orb on his chest, because then you'd see him and it wouldn't get you a scare. There was just a lot of things going on with it.
Because you don't get scared anyway, to be fair.
Well, I'm looking at it from a perspective of like, a regular person that has a soul. So, going through what you see Wolfman in the beginning a little bit. But we progressively kind of, we kept on going to that house, and it just, I did notice tweaks on where they were placing actors and everything. The Dracula scare in the mirror is fantastic.
Yes.
That one would get somebody every time. So that was really awesome. And if you haven't done it, he's kind of behind another mirror, so it makes it seem like he's right there or far away, but then he's actually right next to you when you turn the corner. Fantastic scare. And that was actually used a couple times in the houses this year. And I also did like, the different endings.
Yes.
To it, so Wolfman could win, Dracula, Mummy. That was all cool. Like I said, by the end, they tweaked it a bit. We enjoyed it, but it wasn't. I did many other houses more times than this house, so I couldn't rank it higher than that.
Wow, you had this at number 3 on your hype list, by the way. Tracy. You're number 6.
I know exactly where I had this on my list without even checking where I had it on my list. This is my former number 1. Bugs.
Yeah, I did that high up.
Yeah, I was really, really looking forward.
No, I mean even now.
Really?
At number 6.
Yeah, because everything else was just better.
Well, no, I was thinking that there was things that were better than... Anyway.
No. Loved the 50s kitsch vibe. Always do anyway. Loved that first scene with the housewife and the actual real bugs in there. I was like wanting to get in and see them. I like my bugs.
I know.
So yeah, I was just really excited for it, and it's what we've all said. It's the extra large bugs. It's like, you're not scary. You're obviously a person in a costume.
I mean, to be fair,
Which,
everyone's...
Are you sure?
The whole thing is a person in a costume.
No, I know, but it's just like, I don't know that was supposed to be part of it. It's like the 50s schlocky B-movie style, which is what I took it for in the end.
Well, remember the story is the bugs are getting bigger because of that stuff that's being sprayed.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. It fell a little short for me. I wanted more bugs. And yeah, there's little things like, obviously I know far too much about bugs because I walked in straight away. I was like, oh, there's a bed bug, but it's like 5 million times bigger than it should be. And I was recognizing them all immediately. I don't know. I wanted a bit more claustrophobia. Because with bugs, that proximity is the thing that creeps you out.
Yes.
Maybe like buzzing that felt like it was buzzing in your ears and stuff like that. So
they should have done a room like Graveyard Games, that room within a room where Deadly Silent, and then played. Yeah, that would have been awesome. See, that's because Blake wasn't there this year.
Yeah, that's it.
Didn't they did play noise in one of the rooms.
Yeah, but nothing overly.
You needed your senses attacking with that one a bit.
Yeah, and there was hardly any Sith. Like, that seems like a common, like, you should have put that in a dark room and it would have felt like things were crawling on you.
Yeah.
I have to strongly disagree with you with hardly any Sith.
No, I think she's saying in that dark room. No, she's saying in that dark room, not throughout the whole house.
Yeah, because it had the most Sith of any house.
Because if you can see it, it's not giving you the effect.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have had little air blasts around your ankles.
Well, apparently there was, but I never got them.
There is.
Yeah, I never got any of them.
Tons of them.
No, not one.
Me either.
Wow. Okay.
Unless I've just got no feeling in my ankles. Look, to put it into perspective, we're all talking like, oh, we expected it to be more. Raymond, our oldest, who is a huge arachnophobic, we tried and tried over 5 nights to get him to go through that house, and he kind of entertained it and was thinking about it, and then Chris talked to him and he's like, hell no, I'm not going through it.
Yeah.
Look, there's a difference between being scared or
no, I don't think he would have done.
I don't think, no, he was not doing well.
No.
Like, he would have literally probably panicked and freaked out.
Yeah.
He spiders.
Really?
Yeah, he has proper freak out. Like, he will not move in his bedroom. He used to text me, "Can you come and get the spider out of my bedroom?"
I get that.
I told him like
used
the very
to
light things in that room or in that house, and he was already like, "Hell no, I'm not doing that."
Yeah. I would have liked to see more, like, obviously for other people, contained live bugs.
Yeah, they could have quite comfortably done that. Yeah.
But I'd have been, oh, look at the cute little cockroaches.
But yeah, they could have quite easily done that. Maggots and stuff like that. They're free people.
They're in the scare zones, man. You didn't see any?
On the corn dogs.
We got attacked by one.
A maggot?
No, a roach. You don't remember the story I told you?
That was Dave.
Oh, yeah.
Has Dave's ghost come back? Nobody has a clue what I'm talking about there.
Anyway.
That's your roach.
Right.
Your pet roach.
Yeah, that I accidentally fed towards me.
Moving on. Michelle, you're number 6.
My number 6 is The Horrors of Blumhouse.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We only went through this one once, but I enjoyed it. I didn't really like the freaky part of it. I don't think that I don't think the sets were done really well. Like the dead people looked really stupid to me. That like it felt very rushed and last minute. Like they didn't put a whole lot of time into those faces and the painting and stuff. It just felt silly.
Just a quick disclaimer: if you are actually dead and listening, Michelle doesn't mean all dead people look stupid.
You need to put a bit more effort in. They'll put more effort in your makeup than they did.
Yeah, sorry. It would make zero sense if you hadn't seen the movie, for sure.
Yeah.
And it was really short. And then I, on the other hand, did like the separation of the two when Freaky was over and then like a whole new house started over. So it very much felt like 2 houses in one, which was kind of like cool. And the black phone, I think that they could have done more with it. However, I still liked it. I still did feel very much like I was walking through the movie set.
But that's it though, isn't it? You feel like you're walking through the movie rather than going through a haunted house.
Yeah, but it was still good to me. Like they still were in my space with their scares, and I don't know. I still liked it. They got me a couple times in there. I don't know. I can't really say much more than that because I only went through it the one time. But when I did go through it, I did come out saying that I enjoyed it. So basically, there were others that I just definitely disliked more than this one.
Okay. My number 6 is, and this is, I have to clarify this this is only as low as it is because the 5 above it are stellar, and that is Descendants of Destruction. And it very much lands on that last half of that house is phenomenal. That progressive strobe at the end with the black light when you go down into that caverns, I was all about that. It was fantastic. It definitely felt Last of Us. I know I've spoke to people who've been through it before we had, and I was like, is it The Last of Us? Like, nah. It really did feel like it, though. They felt like clickers, even though they weren't. The effect that Chris said with the mirror, with the subway train, was fantastic. I mean, it's nothing out of the ordinary. They've done this whole devolution of society thing before, but I really liked it, and it got... The first time I went through, because I had this as number 1. Michelle, you had Blumhouse down at your number 8, by the way. The first time I went through it, because I had this at number 1 on my hype list, I was kind of like, And then the second time you go through, you see it for what it is rather than what you want it to be. And I started to see it a little bit more. We didn't actually do this one that many times. I think we only went through it maybe 3 in total.
3 maybe.
We never really did an awful lot over.
No.
There was 2 houses over that way we did a lot more.
Yeah.
But not so much bugs and Descendants of Destruction. So I think we only did it 3 times in total, but it grew on me. It got better every time we went through it. But that last, I think it helps that the final half of that was my favourite part. So you come out pumped because, as opposed to going back through Blumhouse where I thought the first half was better than the second half, you come out kind of like, Whereas this, you come out like, yes, that was awesome. And I think potentially it could have been higher, but the 5 that I have above it, just, these could have been in any particular order, to be quite honest. Right, we're going to take just a slight break because, of course, The Weekender is coming up, but we don't want to go too much into it because we've been going forever already and we've still got 5 houses to go through. But we just want to remind everyone that The Weekender is coming.
Yes, it is taking place at Universal Orlando from Friday, December 2nd to Sunday, December 4th, 2022.
Tickets to the event, as well as the Seekender and Vivo Lunch add-ons, can all be purchased at UUOP-Weekender2022.eventbrite.com.
And the very exclusive water taxi dining experience can be booked by emailing Michelle at PortKeyVacations.net. See you all there.
That water taxi dinner. As of recording, that water taxi dinner, there is not many spots left.
Not many at all.
Not.
It's going to be.
Not.
Does that mean I can come?
Well, I don't know.
Tell it's full. Shush. Don't the riffraff there.
Lee.
Cool. Right, moving on. I think this is going to be interesting. I wish I'd kept a tally of where everyone had on theirs now, because I'm trying to remember what people have got left. But moving on to number 5. Michelle, you're number 5.
Okay, so number 5 is Halloween.
Okay.
I actually had that super low on my list, my hype list. It was at number 9, so it definitely jumped up a lot.
A lot
for
of
me.
people had it very low on their hype list. Like,
Yeah.
everybody.
It did help that I watched the movie before I went to the event, and kind of found myself obsessed with the entire series, which I wasn't expecting, because I'm not really like a slasher movie kind of person, but I really, really enjoyed the Halloween series. And then the first one in particular was just hilarious but classic, and I can see why everybody's so into that. But as far as the house goes, it was so well done. Like, they really did a good job on it. We went through this one a couple of times, and just the little details in this one that they didn't have to do, but they did, was fabulous. So, like, in the beginning when you're walking through and there's the facade of the house, you can see Michael Myers' face in the window up top, but you really have to kind of be looking for it because of the angle of it. Again, didn't have to be up there, but it was. I loved some of the special effects that they had in there. I loved him standing at the top of the stairs. So cool.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't notice that, actually.
Right. Oh, but it's so cool.
Yeah.
They did a really good job. They really did. And I really felt like I was walking through the movie, but as a part of the movie, not just as it being a set, but I felt like I was, I was a Laurie Strode. So it was cool. There weren't as many Michael Myers as I thought there were going to be jumping at me.
Really?
As there were in past houses. I felt like there was like a Michael Myers at every single dang boo hole. I didn't really experience that because I wanted to. When he did jump at me, I was like, can I hug you? I love you. But no, it was good. I being a fan of the franchise now, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thought they did a good job.
Well, we've all got this in our top 5. I can say that for definite. Raymond, our oldest, even though he wouldn't go through bugs and he knew he wouldn't go through bugs, Halloween was still his number 10 on his hype list. And he loved this house. So, yes, Tracy, number 5.
My number 5. Let me see, where did I have that? Oh, it moved up a couple. My number 5 is Monsters.
Really? That low?
Take that.
Really?
Shut up.
The heck?
Really? You think that's low?
Yes.
With my remaining 4?
I know how much you love Universal Monsters, though.
Yeah. And I love the 4 above even more. So I told you from 7 up, nothing was disliked. It was just really hard to put things into place after the first 4.
Fair enough.
So this was the top of the remaining.
Okay.
The remaining ones. I love Monsters. Once they balanced out the monsters,
yes,
that really helped.
Because if you go and listen to our live one, the first thing we did was Jade said, because she loves Dracula, and she came out and said it just, like Chris said, just felt like a mummy house. And I know they've addressed that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some good scares in there. Not enough Wolfman for me. But I am also a Dracula fan. I think she's inherited that from me. Loved how it was like different endings. Also loved what we'd found out from Rich about whatever happens in the Orlando house, Hollywood has to follow.
Which I don't. We've watched multiple walkthroughs of that Hollywood house, and I don't understand how that works. But okay.
But this house, just to walk into, that initial opening,
to be fair,
facade was stunning.
Every house
so
had
good.
That.
Yeah,
every house I feel had that this year.
Oh, there was a small handful that were just, they blew me away. This was like actually being in the queue in the Mummy ride.
It was so good.
It was amazing. Yeah, attention to detail. entertaining. Some I use the term scares loosely. If I got scared, there would be some good scares
you can
in there.
Still appreciate the scare, even though they don't get you.
You know what I wish that house had, by the way, and I don't mean to interrupt, Tracy, but
go ahead.
That opening scene, you have the moon in the background. If they would have had a Wolfman scare actor on that top area going back and forth.
Yes, that's
the one thing I wish that house had.
That's interesting. Tracy and I were talking about this last night, and they like every now and again they'll do some sort of themed character out at the front of the house. Like you think back to The Purge,
the
or the From Dusk Till Dawn house at 22, 23, whatever that year was. Beetlejuice to a certain extent on that house. Like it would have worked in this house so well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Number 5.
I'm surprised you had it so low.
Well, it's higher than it was on my hype list.
Right. My number 5, and this has crept steadily up my list from the... So, you had Monsters at...
7.
7, yeah. This was number... What? Well, I've just made a complete tool of myself because it crept up my list. So I had this at number 4 on my hype list.
Oh, it's crept up.
I have no idea why, but after my first run through, it was down. And then the more I went through it, I was like, do you know what? I actually really appreciate this. And I can't stop listening.
Was I right?
I can't stop listening to those bloody songs now.
I knew I was right.
And it's the only music that I've listened to since coming back that is... You know me, it doesn't take much to get me to tear up about something, and it's In Your Eyes gets me every time now. I can't listen to it without. And it's The Weeknd. And I didn't get it the first time we went through it. I was kind of like, it was okay. And then I think we went through this about 4 or 5 times
enough times.
In total.
Turtle. We didn't go to Turtle, people.
It had some decent
I'm having flashbacks to the last one. Turtles and Tortoises.
It had some decent set pieces in it. There was a great throat slit scene at the beginning. That weird mirror, like infinity mirror rave part in the middle of it was mental. As a music house, you think, does it work? But as a proof of concept, it really did, and I'll be interested to see. I would have loved to have seen what that Billie Eilish house would have been now.
But what did we say last night when we were watching it? How are they going to find somebody to match that sort of energy? And the fact that he has created these narratives himself anyway. It's going to be interesting to see what they can manage to do next year that's going to be as good, if not better.
Because the just the queue was a party zone.
Yep.
Even if you weren't in that queue and you were near it, you just like you couldn't help but kind of get caught up in it. It was so good, and it's one of those. It's done an us to me from 29, whereas at the time I was kind of like, I don't get it. And the more I've thought about it, like gone through it, it's crept up. And then the more I've thought about it since we've come back and we've watched walkthroughs quite a bit, it's really crept up my list, and I really like it. And I had this at number 4. I've already said that, haven't I?
You have.
Christopher.
Number 5, right?
Yes.
Number 5 made a huge jump on my list, and that would be Halloween.
It made a huge jump, like half the list.
Yeah. And I was completely shocked. And it did that the first run through. And it was... I didn't do this house as many times as I wanted to do it because it was... This and The Weeknd were probably the highest weighted houses every single weekend we would go. But this house was fantastic. Even not having seen the movie as of recent years, it's just a fun slasher house. Some really, really good scares in there, or attempted scares. And even one of the times we went through there, we actually met up with Ian and Alicia later on the night. Did this house, and one of the funniest things, and I think this was Alexa's first time going through it, where she is in front of me, goes into that final room with all the mics waiting for you, walked in 2 steps, screamed, walked right backwards towards me, grabs me, and go, no, not doing this, and just runs through this entire area. And obviously all of them went right for her. I was cracking up. Ian was like, we were dying laughing of what just happened. which is weird because she's been through other houses before that were way worse. But for some reason, when she went into this one room and saw this, she lost it. But yeah, it's the best way I can describe this house. It's a fun house. And even to the point of, if you haven't seen the movie recently, maybe if you've never seen the movie, it's still kind of a fun house. I don't know if it would be as fun without watching it, but you still enjoy it.
Yeah, I think there's certain things in it you wouldn't understand, but I think as an overall narrative, you'll get it.
Yeah. Oh, and the house inside of a house was cool.
Yes. I think there was a few. We'll talk about it as we get through. I think there was a few houses this year where the entrance facade was cool, but then the bit that should have been the entrance facade is in the middle of the house, and you're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
There's at least 3 I can think of at this point. Right, moving on to our number 4s. Tracy.
Where was this? Okay. This one did drop a little, but only because the stuff above it was even better. The Weekend.
It dropped down?
Yeah, it was originally number 2, I think.
It was, you're right.
But it just shows how good the remaining 3 were. I absolutely love this house. I did not go through this enough. It delivered everything I wanted. For me, it was a really good idea because it was so energetic. If you were flagging at some point in the night, you go and do that house, you're going to come out pumped up and ready to go again.
Are you listening, Chris Isel?
He doesn't count. Goodness, disowned him.
Just for clarification for those listening, Chris said this house didn't even make his top 10.
No.
Yeah.
What?
Very sad to hear.
He actually
Chris
sent his list in and he put it at number 11.
However,
oh my gosh,
he is part of the contingent with me that is voting for a K-pop house next year.
Oh God.
That'd be cool. Anyway, as I said before when we were talking about with you, the fact that these are all songs he's created the whole narrative. His albums are all carefully crafted to tell a story from start to beginning, album to album, and that's what this house did. It was just like a walk through inside his very strange mind.
I'm glad we did the research and stuff we did to watch like that video that Jade showed us and what Chris put us onto before we went. Otherwise, I'd have been lost.
And to be honest, I knew who The Weeknd wasn't really on my radar. And about 6 weeks before we came out, started listening to the stuff, and I kept going, know this one.
Yeah.
Is that The Weeknd? And then literally I was exclusively listening to The Weeknd for about 2 weeks before we came out, and it was really, really good. Like I said, the throat slit scene was
I love a good throat
amazing.
Slit scene in a house.
The mirrors of the lights, that was
so good.
However,
here we go.
The absolute standout part, Gillian Dunn. Thank you so much for the best moment of my life and probably that scare actor's life, because when we went through the mannequin room, the final mannequin, Gillian just lost it when he jumped out at her. Her legs went. I've never heard a squeal scream like it. And the scare actor absolutely lost it. Couldn't stop laughing. He had his hands over his mouth. And found out after we got out, they must have been watching outside, because when me and Gillian go outside, the staff outside were their pants at us. I couldn't breathe. I was laughing so hard. And then I found out from whoever was at the back of our little group that the scare actor still couldn't get it together.
I think
that was just
if you're in the
amazing.
Producers Club, the exclusive episode that came out, you can kind of hear the sort of back end of that coming out. Like, as Tracy coming out like, oh my God, that was hilarious. I missed it all.
Yeah. But yeah, I really enjoyed that house and would have happily gone round and round and round it.
Yeah. My number 4 is Halloween.
Oh.
I had this at number 7 on my hype list because, again, it's a 1978 film. How good can it be? They've done Halloween houses before, but I was like, it's... And I remember we didn't do it for the first time until our RIP tour. And before we did it, Raymond and Jade had a night at Horror Nights on their own. And Jade texted me and was like, Halloween was amazing. And I was like, okay, because I wasn't expecting you to like it. So we went through it, and it's everything you would expect from... Like, it's just exactly what you would expect a Halloween house to be, but not in a bad way. Just like it is what you would want it to be. house in the middle, like that would normally be the facade. If you go back to something like Insidious from 25, that house facade would have been the front of the house. But the fact that they buried it in the middle, so the actual entrance to the house was very, very understated. It was just that weird TV, wasn't it, playing the Halloween theme, which you were like, okay, it's a bit crappy, but okay. And then save it for that walk out into the front of the house.
I think that's just their way of you becoming the person.
Yeah. Oh,
like
yeah.
you being in there.
That
so you're
makes
watching
sense.
TV, but you're like going into it. That's kind of how I saw it.
And then walking down the side of the house, like walking through the sheets that are hanging on the line was so cool. And then Tracy pointed out that when you're going through, you're pushing through the clothes in the wardrobe section, which I never noticed.
A lot of people have missed that.
Yeah, it was like, contrary to what Michelle said, I felt there was tons of actors in there. Whether that was just, again, the difference between when you went through it, it maybe was understaffed at that point. We just hit it on a good run or what.
It could have been. There was only like one really good close-up Michael Myers that I remember. I mean, there were more, but one that was like really in my face. There was just that one that I could remember towards the beginning.
God, no, there was
felt
tons.
like every corner we turned, there was a Michael.
Tons. And we didn't. I think we only did this 3 times.
I thought it was 4.
I mean, there were Michaels, but they weren't jumping out at me.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. You mean like acting scenes out
Like
rather than trying to get a scare? Okay. Yeah, there was a couple I can think of. The wardrobe scene, and then there's like a living room scene where they're doing that. But
right.
Yeah. Laurie one side and him.
Yeah.
The kitchen
out.
It was like, I think the first run we went through, the sanatorium bit where you're walking through like the outside where it's thunder and lightning and the kids, there was nobody in that section. I was like, oh, well, that was a complete waste of time. And then the next time we did it, there was about half a dozen actors in that, and it just felt so different. So Horror Nights is definitely one of those things that you need to run through houses multiple times, and you shouldn't, but it's nature of the beast, I suppose, to just get that perfect
people as well.
through.
Nobody's ever going to get a perfect run, so you do need to go through 2 or 3 times to then piece it all together.
Yeah, I loved this. I thought it was great. I wish we'd gone through it more. Like I say, it took us 4 nights before we actually went through it.
Crazy.
But, well, to be fair, it was because it was always, I don't think we saw it under an hour's wait. When everything
this one
else
hung around
was,
90 minutes a lot.
Yeah.
Even when everything else was low, Halloween would be crazy. Chris, number 4.
Number 4 is Chupacabra.
Okay.
And it's up there for me. It was a gorgeous house. Almost felt like you were walking through a cartoon with all the vibrant colors and everything in there. That intro kind of city in the background with fireworks.
Are you listening, Michelle, by the way?
I am.
Automatically just sucked me in.
Put 4.
It was what?
Put 4.
All right, you can have yours here.
I'll explain.
Better.
I said these are all very close.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I thought it was super cool that everything in the house was in Spanish. So like there was no English, voiceovers or anything like that. That was kind of cool to kind of keep it traditional. And
I disagree with you there. I think that opening scene with the woman with the mask, I think that was in English.
I don't think so. No. Unless you're suddenly fluent in Spanish and you didn't know.
I'm pretty sure that's in English,
No, I
but
didn't think
anyway.
she was. No,
No, it wasn't.
She was.
I remember the word Esperando.
That's English.
No, it's not. What?
As if Chris thinks I'm being serious. No, it's not.
Oh, I'm like, is my English bad?
Sorry, please continue.
No, yeah. So the house, there are, did have a couple little faults here and there. Like the main city area when you walk through there, I felt like that needed a little bit more either scare actors or something going on there. It's a little dead in there, but there is so much to see in there.
Yes.
You kind of get distracted and just are looking around on all these things. And yes, like Michelle had mentioned, like they do use the shadows a good amount of the Chupacabra. And they did say like there is a presence of him in every single room, which I tried to look for every single time. So I think that's why, because they would definitely not have that many puppets to put him in there. And then obviously we get the most adorable, cute Chupacabra just coming out and attacking.
Hey, I'm squanching here.
That's exactly what happened. For those of you who watch Rick and Morty, Squanch is inside this house, and he is adorable. So
Raymond, I wanted to pet him. I didn't want to like jump away from him.
Raymond found it hilarious when you told him that. He was like, "Oh my god, has Chris told you to the Rick and Morty?" And I'm like, "No, go on."
No, after I thought about that, I could never see that as a triple. It was just Squanch. I'm like, oh, okay, this is fun.
I want a Rick and Morty house now.
Yeah, that would work.
Oh yeah. Anyway, carry on.
No, that's it. Yeah, number 4.
Okay.
And I don't know where I had this before. Actually,
you had this at number 7.
Okay.
Michelle, number 4.
Yes, mine is Descendants of Destruction, which funny enough is exactly where I had it on my hype list.
Okay.
I really liked that house a lot though. I loved the concept. I loved walking into the subway. I think the sets were gorgeous. I really liked kind of in the first third when if you look up, you see like the full outside of the subway that's fallen. That was amazing. It was massive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of those things they didn't have to do, and I'm sure was pricey, but it was so cool. I loved how the creatures, the humans, whatever, got creepier and creepier. Like that whole concept was not lost on me. And I loved the black lights, the glow in the dark, blush mushrooms. I loved being like down in the depths. I really felt, which I was looking forward to. I was like, I really hope they make us feel like we're going down, and they did.
Pardon? That's what she said.
Oh God!
Wow!
I'm not the one that just said it really felt like she was going down.
Maybe that's why I liked it so much. I don't know. Yeah, it was just so cool. I liked it a lot, but there were others I liked more.
Yeah.
However, this was awesome, and I would totally love doing this one over and over again.
That's what she said.
Yeah, go ahead.
Right, let's move on to number 3. I think we've kind of talked a lot. I mean, so going off the back of that, my number 3 is Fiesta de Chupacabra, and it's moved down on my lists in the last 24 hours because the more I think about one, the more it deserved to be my number 2. Everything everybody said, I just like that entrance facade is phenomenal. You feel like you're on the edge of a city with the fireworks going off in the background. It felt like you were in a South American town just ready to go in. I agree with what Michelle said. It didn't feel like a fiesta, but I have no issue with that. I'm not bothered. I'm not there for the party. I'm there for the carnage, which I also agree with Michelle that there wasn't any in there really. And until you pointed that out, I never...
Spoiling it for me now.
I never considered that. Well, it was like Michelle Jade when she spoiled monsters for me. That where you walk out into that big city courtyard was fantastic. I agree it probably could have done with another couple of actors in there, but like you say, just having that big open space in the middle of a house is like you walk into it for the first time, you're like, holy crap, how have they put this in this house? The firecrackers hanging down were so good. It was so simple though, just flashing lights and a bit of smoke, just so awesome. The problem was those chupacabras looked exactly like the American werewolf puppets that they actually are, which is such a shame, especially when you look at the silhouettes, that they don't look the same. If you suspend your disbelief, it just, it was a fantastic house, quite honestly.
See, you made a mistake, and I will explain the mistake when I talk about it.
And I had this at number 9 on my hype list.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, Chris, number 3.
Number 3 would be The Weeknd.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, well, you know what? I was excited because of all the backstory behind it. I'm like, okay, I can see this being a house. I originally wasn't as excited. And to be honest, this house, and I didn't do an actual count because it was just way too many times at this point. It was the most walked in house that we did. We did this, I think, pretty much every time we went out to the event. It was just a lot of fun. They even like switched up the music halfway through, and we were, I think, on our 3rd or 4th weekend over there. They switched up the music, which was kind of cool. Okay. Made it different. And yeah, it just had that slit throat scare is awesome. I love the subway train just about to hit you. That was cool. And I did love, and this one again also has a room full of weekends.
I'd love a room full of weekends.
In a mirror room, and some of them are mannequins, some of them are actual, scare actors. And this one scare actor in there, and I saw him do it twice. Fantastic scare actor, right? So he was towards the end, and I was watching him, and what he would do is he would kick the mannequin next to him so it bobbles back and forth, and people would put their attention on that, and then he would come and scare you and actually get people. I go, that is a scare actor going above and beyond. I wanted to fist bump him right there. But
I remember you pointing that out to me.
It was a fun house. I really enjoyed it, having the music there, having the storyline going on. I'd do it again right now if I could.
And you had this at number 2 on your hype list.
Yeah.
Michelle, number 3.
My number 3 is also The Weeknd.
Okay.
Where was it on my hype list?
10.
That's a pretty big jump.
Wow.
I was surprisingly impressed. I do like The Weeknd, The Weeknd's music. I also have been listening to the that whole album for the past few weeks. And I did watch the videos, which definitely helps.
Yes.
For sure. And we went through this one, I think, 3 times last night. It was so good. Every single time it was good. And actually, every single time it was a little bit different, which is cool. So, like, walking through the stage part where he's up on the stage by himself singing. One time it was like the buggy-eyed guy. One time he's licking a frog.
Okay.
That scene like changes. Who is up on like that balcony stage thing changed for me as well. The last time I walked through, it was the big frog guys. I know my daughter's going to say, "Why is he licking a frog, Mama?"
Just don't do it. Whatever you do, Krista.
I loved the neck slit thing at the beginning.
Yes.
It got me every time as far as like the water spray. Perfectly timed. I had one of my biggest, actually 2 of my biggest scares in this house the first time I walked through. One, and they were right back to back. The wallpaper girl.
Yeah, see, that didn't get me. I thought that was pretty obvious.
I thought it was cool.
I didn't see her. I've opened, I walked through the little divider, and she was like, she popped out at me and got me. So she got me good. And then right after that, there was a hand that came down from the ceiling. So I was already kind of like trying to gather myself from having been scared by the wallpaper girl. And then something comes down at me from the ceiling, and I dropped. And of course, everybody with me thought that was fabulous. So yeah, it was just a fun house all the way through. It was cool.
Yeah. They don't all need to be scary, even though we don't get scared. But sometimes you need that one that, just like you said, Tracy, just gets you pumped.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun. Yeah. It was a good house.
It was. Tracy, number 3.
My number 3, done the same as Michelle. It's jumped from number 10. This is Halloween. But when I quantified why Halloween was in number 10, it was because I was looking forward to everything, and Halloween, seen before, knew what to expect. No. Way better than expectations. The sets were just amazing. Like we've mentioned, like the house, and then the night where they actually rolled fog across the front of that house was just amazing. However, I'm going to talk from a slightly different perspective with it, because I went through this in a wheelchair with Chris. We had great fun, me and Chris. Great team.
We had a lot of fun doing that.
There was Chris pushing me, and every time we went where we had to go through stuff, I was parting the way, making sure that we both got through. It was the attention to detail in this house was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I'd been through on foot a few times. Some great scares, lovely scenes.
Had you? Once?
Yes.
Especially on the wheelchair, you guys.
I only went in the wheelchair once.
Then you only went through this once on foot, because the RIP tour was the first night we did it.
Did we only do this twice?
We did it twice. We did it 3 times, but
I walked through. I'm pretty
first
sure
time then.
I walked through on the RIP tour, and then that's when I started to. That's after that I went back through. Yeah, because I started to get pain. Let me get it right, so I don't get killed.
Oh, yeah.
Who not creative? Who did all the
It's art and design.
yeah, thank you.
Andy DiGenova.
I know, so I'm trying to make sure I get it right. They've made sure that it doesn't matter whether you're walking or you're not, you will get something. When I went through the wheelchair, we're in the bedroom scene. I didn't even know there's a dead body on the floor until I went past it in a wheelchair. I was like, holy there's a dead body there. Yeah, so I was really appreciative then because you're not missing out on stuff because you were lower. And there was a couple of scares where the Michael actually didn't bend, but made sure there was like an angle, so I knew that was aimed at me, and it was good. It was really good. I was very impressed. But I loved this house. I
think this year you can say that for all the houses. I think 360 they were all themed to the nth degree this year.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Cool. Right, number 2, Chris. Number 2.
Okay, let me get ready to do this. Number 2, bugs.
What?
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Bugs.
Wow.
Right, let me get to the reason. Okay. As you know, I don't get scared in houses. But I love having some sort of, emotion maybe. And this house, the first run through, it got me a little riled up a little bit. Let's just say that much. I didn't have super high expectations because I have done a bug house before over at Hollowscream, and it was pretty bad. Like it was just literally pasted bugs everywhere.
Yeah.
So going through this house, seeing the details on everything really got to me. Especially, I hate bugs. Like I don't like roaches or anything. And even to add to it, like another time that we went through the house, like I had mentioned earlier, me and Alexa are just sitting, waiting to go into the house, and then a roach just flies right at us, and we almost had to abandon her purse and everything because I'm like, that belongs to Universal now. I'm not.
See, more of that would have been nice.
Yeah, he was in the scare zone, like I said. So just hang out in the scare zone. You'll see roaches for sure. So it's going back to the house. I love not just the bug stuff. I love kind of that 1950s B-side story movie kind of thing, Home of the Future, all that. Mm-hmm. I thought the story was cool for it being that. And like I said, there were certain aspects in this house that got to me just because my senses were heightened because of the bugs. I'm not afraid of a large lava creature coming to get me. In fact, I'd rather have that than a 1-inch roach just kind of crawling up my leg. So there were times where some of the SIF got to me, and there was definitely a couple leg ones that got me. Mm-hmm. And one of the ones that I loved the most in that house, and I thought it was such a fantastic way of using the senses against you, was when you're entering, I'd say more than halfway through, probably 3/4 of the way through the spider area. And instead of it being normal kind of plastic divider things, it was cloth. It was stringy cloth. So you're walking into this, you're feeling cloth, and you're looking at spider webs. Your brain automatically goes, You just walked into a spider web right now. And it got me, like, not scared me. I'm like internally like, crap, did I just walk into a spider web right now? So I thought this house was a fantastic use of the senses. I think it's, in my opinion, one of the most used senses or use of senses in a house that I've been to since 2003. Wow. And I honest to God, like this was, I enjoyed this house a lot. Yeah.
It must be because you have a genuine fear of bugs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. That definitely plays into it. Like like here in Florida, like we have roaches and I don't like them. So that definitely helped out a lot. But they also did a really good use of those, string things and the drapes and all that. I thought that was a fantastic use.
Yeah. Where was this situated?
It was where Depths of Fear was in 29.
That means nothing to me.
The far
in the
corner.
back by Men in Black.
Thank you,
It was inside
Michelle.
Universal Studios.
So, House of the Future, World Expo. They put that in the right place then, didn't they?
True.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Okay. Chris always has a wild card up where no one else has it. And it funnily enough, it was Depths of Fear last time.
Yeah.
Tracy, number 2.
My number 2. Right, I wasn't allowed a joint one.
No, you weren't.
I'm still flip-flopping here.
You're going to make a decision.
My number 2 is Chupacabra.
Okay.
I hate saying it. It's number 2. It's joint first.
It's up there.
I bleeping loved this house. It fed everything for me.
You do not know the torment that Tracy was going through between what I'm expecting her number 1 to be and this house.
And
I know what I know her number 1
you've
is
got
now,
to, because there's only one left.
Yeah, of course. I think
I've seriously lost sleep over this. It was bright, it was colourful, it was interactive, and I really, really, really want a baby Chupacabra, because see, this is where not taking any notice of stuff really comes into play, because I hadn't actually seen what the Chupacabra was supposed to look like until after I'd been through the house. Everybody's complaining, they show me, and I was like,
on the shirt, yeah.
But I didn't know that, so I was really happy. I was very fortunate that every single run through, I got every animatronic every time. I was very lucky.
Yeah, you had this at number 4, by the way.
I know. The central open space, which was like the square, if you like. Yeah. I could have spent hours exploring there. I said to Leigh, I would have loved to have done like what's called
Behind the Screams.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
I think any house this year on the Behind the Screams would have been a good one to go through.
That area could have had more scares, because you're too busy looking around, and people could have wrong-footed you in there.
Because you'd have walked out into it like, holy crap. And
which
then,
I did.
Yeah,
There is one scare as you exited.
To the left-hand side, it jumps out at you.
There's 2 actually in the same area. But I loved this so much.
It was really
I could have just gone round and round and round and round.
Michelle, where did you have this again?
Hold on, got to pull my phone back.
Was it 8 or 9?
Like 8?
Oh my god!
8.
It was ridiculously low.
Did I say you had this at number 4? Chris, you had Bugs at number 6, by the way.
Okay.
Oh, also, just Chris's L. I ruined it for him. I'm so sorry, but the masks they were wearing and Crash Bandicoot.
Oh yeah.
So every time we walked, that's what he was thinking.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry.
Right, my number 2 has done kind of what other people's number 10s have done, like Michelle's. I had this at number 10 on my list because everyone knows I had no love for Universal Monsters back at Halloween Horror Nights 29. But the more I think about this house, the better it gets. It was the first house we went through this year. That first run through was awesome, and then Jade completely dragged me down by telling me it just felt like a mummy house and there was nobody else in. And I was like, don't spoil it. She actually pulled me aside at one point and went, did I really spoil it for you?
She agonised over it with me.
I was like, internally going, yeah, you really did. But I was like, no, it's fine.
Oh, I'd already
be a good parent, Lee.
No.
Say no.
I tore a strip off her and said that he'd cried that night.
But it was just the theming throughout was fantastic. There was some awesome scares in it. Like you say, that mirror effect with Dracula, the projection of the bats coming in and then changing into Dracula, and then it walking across, and then him jumping out from the side.
Loved
was
that.
Awesome.
That was one of my favourite bits.
I wish there's one thing where you walk past a set of stairs on the right-hand side, and I kept looking up at every time to see the ghostly swoosh.
That's
from
because of the mummy.
But it wasn't there, and I kept hoping it would be there every time we walked through it, and it wasn't. That smell walking in got me every time. Yeah. It was just fantastic with, again, potential scares. I'll say what Chris has been saying, potential scares. I actually did get a couple in this house, to be fair. It was just so well done from start to finish. And Tracy and I have watched walkthroughs of the one in Hollywood, and they both look really good. I think I would prefer Orlando's to Hollywood's in the end, because theirs was more like the after, whereas we got the dig site. It just so well done. It was phenomenal, and it's crept more and more up my list till I kind of settled on number 2. Michelle, number 2.
So my number 2 is also Legends Collide, for all the same reasons that Lee said. It was beautiful. It was awesome. so well made. And a lot of the special effects that they used were my favorites, like my absolute favorites. And I have to say, this house got me the most every single time. We went through it 3 times, and the scares got me, like the same scares got me every single time, even though I knew it was there and it wasn't really scary. I just was almost like, I was like expecting it to come, but then it didn't come, but then it came. And so it still got me.
She said, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was so good.
But that one towards the end that was like the triple threat. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where like your attention is pulled by the mummy jumping out of one area. So you're looking there and it wasn't really scary. So you're like, oh, look. But then Dracula is over to your left and you're like, oh, Dracula. And then so you jump to a different direction. And that direction was like the Wolfman was down below.
We got that one time. It was so good.
Every single time they got me.
So good.
Where I literally screamed and dropped. The other one that got me was the damn Dracula every single time. Where you saw him where it looked like he was really far away.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it got me every single time, but it did. And it was fabulous. I just wanted to high five Drac because it was great. I wasn't a big fan of the ending. I thought it needed a little bit more fanfare.
It was a little understated.
It was. I was like, oh, that was the ending. I was kind of expecting it to be more like Icons last year. It was like a big deal.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of an afterthought, but it was fabulous. It was really well done.
Yeah, it was.
It was a really smart house, and I really appreciated it.
Cool. Right. And if you're playing along, you'll know what we've all got as number 1, and I know it's not a surprise. So on the count of 3, what has everyone got as their number 1? 1, 2, 3.
Dead Man's
Pier.
Yep.
Sorry, I screwed that up.
Michelle,
sure did.
I know your plane is coming, so you can have first dibs.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It was so good. I wouldn't say it was scary. Like there was nothing scary in it at all. But it was so beautiful. The storyline, amazing. And I don't know that I would have caught on to that storyline had I not done the RIP tour and he really explained it to me. But regardless, it was still gorgeous. Everything from the sets to the wind blowing and the rain falling on you.
Yeah, it is literally raining in that house.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
And the costuming, fabulous. The masks were fabulous. The use of black lights, like just randomly gorgeous. The violinist, like you walk into this room and you're like, I just don't even know how to explain it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that you see her on the boat before you get to it and you're like, oh, that's cool. And then you walk through a room and it opens up and that whole ship is there and you are just like, what the hell is going on?
And you see the lighthouse.
Yes.
But that's one thing. I love the fact that you can hear that violin playing throughout.
The whole house,
you're being drawn into like a siren call.
It's that lighthouse and
the
violin.
And you see the lighthouse regularly as well. It's
just
having
the
that
black
lighthouse
light
the entire time is just fantastic.
Yeah, the black light on the face paint in like the underwater guys.
Yeah, the bell.
I kept missing
gosh.
those.
I thought that was an LED screen the first time I walked through that house.
Me too.
I didn't know how they were doing it until like I finally took a good look and I'm like, wow, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So good.
I mean, talk about an entrance facade as well. I mean, that rivals, for me, the best entrance facade of a house that I've been through is Body Collectors from Halloween Horror Nights 25, the outside of Shady Brook Asylum.
Was it snowy?
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. On the tree.
Just phenomenal. This rivals that.
Absolutely.
You kind of walk through that harbour port with the statue and the
But
dock.
it even smelled of the sea.
Oh, it was just unreal. And then you walk into the bar. First off with the Captain Birdseye trying to hawk you a drink.
And if you walk past your 31, you're hidden 31.
Yeah, it was just, again, like I've said, I think every house this year was themed to the nth degree.
What were you always amazed by in this house? you walk up a ramp.
Oh, yeah. When the hell do you walk up a ramp in a house? I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I had one of my favourite effects in there as well. The
shit, yeah. The only problem was, a couple of times we did it on the RIP tour, the curtain that they entered into that little section was open so you could see through it. But yeah, so there's like a poster for something, but it's obviously a scrim. And when they light it from the other... I love that effect.
I love that effect. It must have a name.
It's not Pepper's Ghosted, but it's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just, yeah. And the fact that I know Thomas was over the moon about it when we did our RIP tour, that boat section is from the old Jaws queue as well. Mm-hmm. It just... And then you go down into... like under the ocean, and like you pointed out, the SIF is the seaweed and stuff, and then
the dividers, instead of just being straight sheets of plastic, they get wigglier and wigglier until they are actually pieces. Well, not actually, but they are emulating seaweed towards the end.
Yeah,
and then
so cool.
The guy on the bungee as well, which wasn't there a lot of the time. I think there's like 50% of the runs through that we done. We did this. I think Monsters was my most run through. I think this was second.
But obviously you've been in a shipwreck as well, because you end up with the water is splashing against the portals, and then it's above, and you're getting deeper in the bigger seaweed and barnacles
this house was Art and Design's wet dream, literal wet dream.
It was
They went like, here's the credit card.
Yeah.
Go all out. This house is like a culmination of the last 31 years of Horror Nights, just perfecting everything. The way they got the weather, that was fantastic. I don't know if it's Rich that told us that fun fact about the boat inside the dock, that was filled with water.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
No,
he might have told you it.
Maybe. But it was filled with water where that boat, where they painted the floor blue, and a couple days before opening night, that water leaked out everywhere. So they just had to like scrap that. But you would have seen a boat in water inside of that dock. I mean, it would have escalated it even more, I think. But overall, the house was perfection.
It really was.
But it's so good. I wish that they didn't have to tear it down. Like, I wish they could figure out a way to keep it and turn it into some type of attraction.
I would go through that year after year happily. So the scare zone that it was Dead Man's Wharf.
Yes.
Then we've got Dead Man's Pier, and I called this by the wrong name when I went out with Chris Zell. So I'm calling it, if they end up doing this as a trilogy, next year it's going to be Dead Man's Reef, and you're going to be in the bodies under the water. And
it won't necessarily be next year. When was Dead Man's Wharf? Like 3 years ago, 4 years ago at this point, probably.
But that's I may have predicted the future.
I hope so.
Me too.
See, for the longest time, I thought this was going to challenge Yeti as my favourite house. And then the more I think about it, like, I think it's as beautiful as Yeti, but Yeti had the set pieces that Dead... No house this year has the set pieces that something like Yeti had. So, like, for the biggest one I think of, obviously, is the Yeti shoving his arm through the guy's chest. There was nothing like that in any of the houses this year. They were all beautiful. They all had their sort of signature scares and stuff, but nothing particularly innovative this year. It was very run-of-the-mill Horror Nights, and that's not to say it was bad by any means, but it didn't push the envelope as far as anything they've done previously. Like, I think back to the Purge at 25 when they had the Stooge in the audience, people going through, or a Barker out the front, or like that bit in Yeti specifically, or the one with the arm coming down that Chris, that you were talking to me about when we were going through it. None of them had a sort of signature scare that was something new this year, which I think kind of let it down slightly. But overall, I think the houses wise, it was phenomenal this year.
Strong year this year.
I would play devil's advocate just a little bit, and to me that kill inside the Weekend House was fantastic. I think that's one of the better kills this year, where he slits the girl's throat.
Yeah.
And then you get sprayed with water. If you don't, you got to get the full effect. That one's a fantastic scare. But yeah, it's gonna be hard to beat the Yeti. That's like your white whale.
Yeah.
So it's there. It's done.
Yeah. And we did notice a few little changes as well. In just going back to Chupacabra, where the bodies pulled in.
Yeah.
It went down, didn't it, for a few hours one night. And when we got in there, we noticed there was a Perspex screen up. So we don't know whether somebody being stupid.
Someone being naughty, trying to touch it.
Oh, well, somebody has to spoil it.
Always. And one other thing to mention about this house, we did this house many times. And you know how important it is to have the right amount of scare actors in there to make the house work.
Yeah.
One of the runs we did in this house did not have the lady playing the violin.
Oh, no, that'd be
everything.
It was everything. Yeah, it was very weird. So like as an overall house, it's cool and everything. But this run through I was going through with the only time with my sister, brother-in-law, and all that. And I'm kind of they like when I narrate stuff for them so they get the story. And I was trying to explain. I'm like, yeah, there should be somebody there that is dragging us down here with her music, and it was really weird not having that there. So it's just something to point out how important sometimes one single scare actor can be in a house.
Oh, yeah. Just so you know, Michelle's flight's gone, so she's just had to go and run off and board her plane. But yeah, I think it's interesting as well that normally as a group we're not really on this. We usually got things all over the place, but our number 10 was all the same, and our number 1 was all the same. I'm interested to see where all our listeners have them. Speaking of which, Chris,
as always, we will be doing our UUOP listeners house rankings. So if you are going to get into that as well, drop us an email with the 10 houses in order from your favorite to least favorite to podcast@uuopodcast.com.
Yeah, don't let us influence what we've just talked about for the last hour and a half. Don't let that influence your decisions.
You can let me influence you. It's fine.
Yeah. If Coven's your number 1, just don't email us.
No, do it, man. You know me. Kidding. Hey, no. If your opinion is your opinion. Chris had bugs at number 2.
I mean, your opinion's wrong, but no.
But yeah, we've got a good 2025 in already, and to be honest, I haven't really looked at them so far. So
you know, if you've got some, I'm always interested in people's reasons as well for like things. So if you've got some really strong opinions on things, tell us.
Yeah,
you know, it's always fun to have debates about these things.
Of course, it is, because everyone's opinion's different, and that's what I love about doing these. But I think, I think it's.
So are we ranking at any point our scare zones?
Yes, in about a month.
Oh, good.
We are doing them. I'll put that out there I'm not sure when it is, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, something like that. We've got, so
you mean just before we go back?
You'll know because we've had him on the show before, but our good friend Blake Braswell, who now doesn't work at Universal anymore, had a hand in 5 of the house concepts for this year, and he has agreed to come on and talk to us about that, because it looks like our actual Halloween Horror Nights interview with Creative this year isn't going to go ahead because it was cancelled due to Hurricane Ian. So I'm not sure whether that's going to get rearranged at this point. So, but we will obviously get to talk to someone who had a big hand in this year's event. So I'm quite interested. And
we love Blake.
And I know Coven.
Blake's just awesome to talk to.
He is. And I know Coven was one of the houses he worked on. So I'm interested.
Sorry.
Come on.
I'm sorry. Not sorry.
That's my number 1 now.
Anyway, as I alluded to at the beginning, if you're not listening to this on headphones, you might want to stop, get some headphones, put some headphones in, because after the outro, there will be these 10 stereo walkthroughs of the houses this year. I've bleeped out some of the swears that were in there, so you can listen to it.
Probably not all of them, then.
Kids
only some of them, he says.
No, I've managed to get all of them, I think. There was only a couple, and I think a couple of them were me, and I think Gillian said one once. Anyway.
If you're listening, send us in when he does do it. So.
I did last time. I left one in last week. Anyway. Right. So that is our house rankings list for this. I've been desperate to do this for so long. And I knew it wouldn't be a short episode. At this point, we are an hour and 46 minutes in.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
I didn't even notice that.
It flew by. But of course, we'll wrap this episode up with a Universal Is, and this one comes from Gretchen Smith. Because if you want to get involved, Gretchen, who Chris met in Cabana Bay, I do believe. Okay. If you would like to get involved wrapping up the podcast, all you've got to do is get in touch and let us know what you think Universal is in 3 words or less, and send them to us at podcast@uuopodcast.com. But for episode 529, Gretchen says Universal is my hurricane hideaway. See you next week, everyone.
That was another episode of the Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast, the best and only podcast about Universal Orlando on the island. Check us out on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Pinterest. Just search UUO Podcast. For all the podcasts, news, and articles, check out our blog at uuopodcast.com. Contact us at podcast@uuopodcast.com. Join the Producers Club by emailing us at uuopproducers@gmail.com. Listen and subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Check out our friends, the Theme Park Duo, for all your other theme park news, and email Michelle at PortKeyVacations.net to book your next trip. So until next time, this is Amity 6, Call Off the Marines, we're coming home.
Bugs eaten alive. Dead Man's Pier, Winter's Wake.
Strings play on the wind like salty spray that Oh yeah, that's a good movie. I want to watch it again. I watched Speak Smells
was a good one.
Block Horror.
Being big and careful, yeah.
Eventually, Eddie will be in here.
Okay. My MVP. Yes! Yeah!
We're dead either way. Die, you blood-sucking.
The horrors of Blumhouse.
Oh my god.
Hey, that's the way to start.
Has he got me there as well? And there's even that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Me, that's awesome. There's that again.
You got me crunchy. I can't
No, that's cool.
And the change becomes a bit of money.
Those drop windows get me every time. Oh, that's not good. Another one there. Shoot that mother!
A community is robbed by the disappearance of yet another missing residents living here, knowing
Want to see a magic trick? Want to see a magic trick? The phone doesn't work.
They got me.
it was too late.
it down when you say the password. If you've read my column, you should.
Yeah, but it's not.
What's the password?
Universal monsters, legends collide.
Yeah, I love this house. I love that smell.
That smell.
said it is.
Have you done this? No.
I do love this right here. This
No, it's so good. Yeah.
so good.
What was that?
That was weird.
Jade will be very happy.
The Weekend After Hours Nightmare.